90% of businesses make the same critical mistakes in their Google Ads setup, and it's holding them back. Are you one of them? My name is Victor, and I've personally built and managed Google Ads programs for brands like True Classic, Kendra Scott, Fruit of the Loom, and Plunge. Last year alone, my agency managed over 14 million in ad spend with an average 11.5 return on ad spend using Google Ads. And outside of my time at Google, we've helped over 50 businesses optimize their accounts and scale profitably. In this video, I'll walk you through the exact audit process I use to fix underperforming accounts and unlock growth. Now, what does that entail? So there's gonna be a few steps here, 6 in total. We're gonna run through conversion tracking because what we need to first understand is the foundation set up appropriately. Then we're gonna look at campaign structure. This is pretty simple. Naming conventions, is it organized or is it a mess? More often than not, really messy, no standardization in naming conventions. Keywords, this is where I have a field day. A lot of people are wasting money and spend on their keywords. They're not utilizing negative keyword lists. They're not following Google best practices within, the ad group structure. I've seen 700 keywords in ad groups at a time. Step 4, we're gonna look at ad copy. So are you speaking to your audience, right? Is your offer compelling? Or are you just trying to fill all the 15 spaces, right? Or 4 descriptors? Are you trying to squeeze as many headlines as possible just so Google could pick the right one for you? More often than not, that's what it looks like. People are just squeezing text in, maybe using GPT. I'd recommend you take a little bit more time with your offer. Take a little bit more time with your copy. It's a skill. Step 5, bidding strategy. A lot of the time we're gonna rely on automated bidding because automating bidding, I'm not gonna bid every minute, every second, right? There's no way I'm gonna beat it. So what we need to do is leverage, right? What Google's built. Step 6, audience targeting. Pretty simple. Are you reaching the right people, right? You look at the entire funnel, you got top, middle, bottom. Are you retargeting in the right campaign? Are you prospecting in the right campaign? More often than not, there's overlap. And this is where you could unlock, real profit. All right, we're gonna hop straight into what you've been waiting for. This is the account audit section. So I'd recommend grab a pen or pens, notepad, pull up an extra window, get ready to take screenshots if that is what you like to do. So high level purpose for the audit, right? To deliver detailed recommendations, quick wins, and then in addition to that, long-term adjustments. So what's our next 30 days, our next 60, our next 90 days going to look at? If the account's big enough, what's the next year going to look at? If, you, the brand, have targets for the quarter, for the year, it's helpful to ensure that you have, your media planned out well in advance. So you know what inventory you could purchase into. Right? So purpose for audits at Whitelabeled, my agency, this is actually the newest iteration of our audit that we use when we're going after new business. We actually also have a paid audit, and this is the structure for that. But 1, we do it to acquire new customers, right? It's a great offer because we're able to uncover a lot of low-hanging fruits, a lot of structural issues, a lot of things that are inhibiting an account from scaling, right? Which we'll dive into shortly. In addition to that, we use this for peer-to-peer audits because sometimes you could have your horse blinders in, operating inside of an account, pulling the levers, right? And it's nice on occasion to have a peer, audit and lend their perspective because maybe they saw something, right? Or someone saw something that can really help unlock, more growth, or, hey, you're wasting spend over here. Here you go. That's sometimes one of the things between, agency and brand that I tend to see as a value add being on my side. But without further ado, here we go. So there's steps, there's a section for notes, and then maybe additional notes, right? Or answers, because sometimes you're gonna wanna pull up questions yourself, questions to ask, right? And we do have that here. I'll give you a quick example of what we'll do on the campaign ad structure, right? So typically over here are the right campaign types in use. Budget and bid strategy, is the budget optimized? Are we using the correct bid strategies aligned with goals? A lot of time we don't see, it right. Brand versus non-brand. It's a big thing, right? Are we properly excluding these audiences? Are we actually bringing in new customers, new prospects, or are we tapping into existing people who would have likely searched, for our brand and potentially wasting money there, right? We see that a lot. It's a big discussion point, especially on the brand side, for how can I bring new customers into, the fold. And then our ad group's tightly themed, right? That's a big thing. And this is an example of the types of questions that you'll ask. So super high level, the way we look at this at Whitelabeled is we'll hop into account health and structure, right? So what does that look like? Conversion, any policy disapproval things that we need to be aware of. From there, we'll hop into campaign and ad group structure, right? Big thing here, look at the naming conventions. Can I tell the goal of the campaign, the targeting of the campaign just by the name? Can I tell the type of campaign by the name? Can I tell the purpose of the campaign by how it's named and structured, right? Naming conventions make our lives easy. It will make your life easy, especially if you're good at manipulating data in a spreadsheet. You could easily pull out and do lookups based off of specific identifiers. So something I did in the past was I would have based off of campaign type 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, and I'd be able to query those things, right? In order to start to see how certain campaigns are overlapping or not with each other, right? But that's a little bit more advanced. We could have a conversation if need be about that on a later time. Outside of campaign and ad group structure, we'll look at keyword and search query review, right? We'll look at ad and creative performance. We'll look at your shopping and your performance max campaigns. We'll have the same thing, right? Where we're asking all of these questions. We'll look at retargeting and audience strategy, right? A lot of where these platforms, are leaning into is more creative, right? The text itself versus like selecting and hand curing audiences, right? So you want to ensure you could allow the ad engine to do what it does best. It's been getting built over time. ML is only getting stronger, especially when they're enabling it potentially with more and more AI over time, right? From there, we're going to want to look at geo and device targeting settings, right? I want to ensure I have the right locations. I want to ensure that I'm like doing presence in. So people in the location, not people in Russia looking up something in Florida, right? That's a big thing. Quick little setting that you'll find that can help, curb any wasted spend in that area. Then we're going to look at performance metrics, right? So in a discovery, I'd really start with, your goals. Where are you at? What are you looking to achieve? Why are you looking, to come to us? What does ideal world look like? What is your break-even cost to acquire a customer? Do you even know that? More often than not, people do not know what they are willing to spend. But keep in mind, the reason we are hopping into these auctions is to buy customers. We are competing to purchase a customer, right? And it's our job to allow our business to really make them happy so they could continue spreading the word, right? Maybe giving us a review, maybe helping our feedback process so we could help build up on that back-end LTV. Maybe something they said led to the next iteration of a product that they purchased down the road, increasing our lifetime value of said customer, right? So there's some scaling opportunities there. And then naturally, there will be deliverables, right? That's the purpose of an audit. What are we going to share? So I'm going to hop into like our more rudimentary version. This is something that I've used for hundreds of accounts that we've audited, right? Reason being, it's quick. I could do this in like 15 minutes unless I'm hopping into like a rabbit hole. Same thing with my team, right? My team will hop into this and be like, okay, everything looks good. Check, 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 check. But you're also figuring out, what questions should I be asking when I'm hopping into, my Google Ads account. So like I said, check conversions, check ad group structure, right? Sometimes we'll see, a PMAX campaign not even serving in shopping inventory. So we would want to likely force that by either building a PMAX feed only campaign or by building a standard shopping. Recently, Google, it was like half a year ago, Google said, PMAX and standard shopping isn't going to compete or cannibalize the same way they once did, right? Ad rank isn't going to be prioritized on PMAX, nor is it going to be prioritized on standard shopping. They're going to compete fairly, right? The next thing we're going to look at is impression share. This is a big thing just because this helps us know like how are we actually competing in the auction. It's very dynamic. It's happening in milliseconds, right? There's tens of thousands, millions of people competing, right? Depends on your industry and niche. So two things that we're going to look at. We're going to look at impression share loss to budget, impression share loss to rank. Now, where do you go to find that? You'll go to the columns view in your campaign setting under competitive metrics. And then there you could select some competitive metrics. I like looking at budget loss.
I like looking at rank loss. It helps me know two things really. Am I spending enough to serve in all given auctions at, the time period that I'm looking at? Or if rank, we're losing out a significant amount due to rank, this will tell me something with the campaign itself, our ad group, maybe the keyword we're bidding on, or maybe, the creative we've input or our feed structure. Something is allowing competitors to get the edge on us. So there's definitely room for optimization there. Next, we'll look at quality scores, right? So what this helps me do is understand whether or not, it's ranked out of a 10. So 1 out of 10. What this will help me understand is, do I have good expected click-through rates? Do I have a good landing page experience? Do I have a good ad experience? Is it relevant? Google wants, from keyword to checkout to be the most relevant experience, and they're going to help support you. They're going to help lift you up if you are providing a truly relevant experience, right? Especially now that there's AI-enabled search. Next, we'll look at bid strategies. This is something very similar to looking at, account settings. I want to ensure the goals are in line and that we're bidding the appropriate way that Google has defined, a bid strategy ladder. So if you're e-commerce, you're going to be looking at value-based bidding. If you're lead gen, you're going to be looking at CPA goal-based bidding, right? Because you want to restrict it by maybe a target CPA. Unless you're able to input or connect your CRM and bring in values into Google Ads and create that feedback loop, then you could maybe move into value-based bidding, right? Which is really neat because now you can see profitability, right? You could potentially input COGS, things like that. One thing that stands out more than anything in all of the audits that I've done, hundreds, right, is keyword quantity. So keep in mind, earlier I mentioned keywords are tight. Their ad groups are tightly grouped. Reason I'm saying that is because I've seen 750 keywords, 1,000 keywords in a given ad group at any time, right? Now, picture this. You're spending $50 a day on that one campaign. You have 2 ad groups. You're going after maybe sunglasses, right? Simple term. Now, if you have 750 keywords in a given ad group, one of the ad groups, $50 a day, average CPC is around $1.70. Maybe $2.20, right? How many clicks are you going to be able to have a day? What's your average conversion rate, right? It's going to be really difficult to identify winners out the gate quick. So what I'd recommend is bringing it down to like a best practice, definitely under 20, especially depending on how actively you're managing the account. But I'd recommend having it between a 5 to an 8, maybe 5 to 10 keywords per ad group. Because now you could really ensure that you are checking that quality score box, right? You're making that keyword as relevant as possible to the ad that it's going to be serving on when someone searches for that keyword, right? Hyper relevant. And then when they go to the landing page, they're going to see that exact term, right? Cool sunglasses or Oakley sunglasses, branded term. From there, we'll look at ad copy. Now, I love seeing ad copy filled out 15 headlines. I'd honestly prefer 8 to 10 if it's more thought out, because a lot of the time people are just jamming ad copy in there for the sake of jamming it. It's not unique. It's not using any copywriting principles. You're not agitating a problem. You're not providing a solution. You're just trying to stuff keywords in there to get that meter to go to excellent, right? Use copywriting principles. If anything, get ChatGPT to help enable you to curate some pretty solid headlines. And at the end of the day, we're human. We know exactly what needs to be, written and what will resonate with other people. But lean into these principles, because then it'll give you something to iterate on. After that, we'll look at landing pages at the account level, at the campaign level, depending on the goals. Sometimes we will see mixed goals in an account, and it's methodical. It's for a reason. Now, landing pages, a lot of time, especially in e-commerce, we don't see the use of actual what we call landing pages enough, right? Landing pages can be hyper relevant. It could provide a lot of storytelling. It could provide problem agitation, solution. Like you could have a lot of copywriting frameworks like built into your landing page to really help sell your product and help differentiate yourself in a very noisy marketplace. Most of the time, I'll see people sending traffic to the homepage, which that's good. That should be one of your best selling pages. But in addition to that, you got your collections page, you got your PDPs, right? I don't see enough testing. So let's figure out like what actually works best for a given campaign, ad group, or ad, right? And from there, look at, speed. Are the CTAs above the fold, right? And then we'll determine like which landing page is actually, performing better, or if we should maybe test bringing a new landing page. I've seen massive increases in conversion rate, like almost full, like 5% increases just by introducing a landing page. From there, extension checks. So a lot of the time, site links, promo extensions, call out extensions. Are you covering as much real estate as possible? That's the big thing you're going to want to do here. A big thing that we want to look at is, especially in e-commerce, the product feed, right? Google's all about structured data. And like I've really leaned into, relevance, right? We want to be using proper titles. We want to be potentially testing our titles, ensuring we have all of the proper attributes in there. Look at a Nike search for a pair of shoes and look at their titles as an example, right? You're likely going to see the brand. You're going to see the title of the shoe. You're going to see the color of the shoe. You might see whether it's a men's or female shoe. And then you'll see size, right? Because what they want to do is make it as relevant as possible for the person doing the search, so they can find what they are looking for immediately. We do partner with Feedonomics, so feel free to drop a comment below if you want to get a free audit. I could get that going for you. They will provide a feed grade score for free in hopes of obviously, getting your business. But this does provide a really good way for you to actually see areas of opportunity in your feed itself. If you're an e-commerce business, your feed means a lot. Like you want to be in shopping inventory. From there, we're going to be looking at audiences, devices. Are we looking at the proper observation audiences? Are we targeting the right devices, right? A lot of the time I see, mobile outperforming, especially nowadays. Everybody since 2010, smartphone, everybody lives on it, right? So if you're not on mobile, something's up with that. So there could be bid adjustments based off of the level of your program on mobile. You might have a different experience on desktop versus mobile, right? Because they are two different experiences. Next, we'll be looking at targeting, geo-targeting, right? So location-based targeting. So if you have brick and mortars, or if you are just going national, or if you're more of a regional brand, Google has this thing, localize before you globalize, right? So those are some small things to look at. There are going to be specific DMAs, designated market areas, that do have significantly higher conversion rates. You're going to want to look at your location reports, right? Because what you could do further down the road is you could do holdout tests to see what happens if you pause a specific geo, right? And this will actually show you a potential incrementality, right? The lift of where your brand is. So there's some really cool things you could do down the road, but make sure you are targeting the right locations for your product, right? If you're sunglasses, you're not going to want to be focused on a place that's always dark, right? Ad schedule check. So is there wasted spend on days, times? This is where you could actually learn people's buying behaviors, right? So we're going to want to see if there's bid adjustments in specific times of the days. For email, we know there's specific times that someone's going to most likely, read the email, convert on the email, just because of average work schedules, right? Same thing goes for, ads. Especially look at, the posting times for Instagram posts, for TikTok posts, right? For a YouTube. So this is something to keep in mind. Automated bidding does really help with this, but we can add bid adjustments. In addition to this, you're going to want to look at analytics. So you would want to pipe in GA4 and connect that. Please make sure you connect that, because now you'll be able to see in your Google Ads account, bounce rate, pages per session, average time on site. Does this all look healthy? This is a quick way for me to see, especially if we're running lead gen or heck, even e-commerce. If the bounce rate's way too high, there might be something wrong with our traffic, right? I've been able to catch significant bot traps due to these things and make changes on Shopify, or make changes by introducing a CAPTCHA on a landing page, right? So there's small things that you'll be able to glean from just having the right integration set up in your Google Ads account. And then this is a pretty big one, change history. I'd remove scripts, because scripts, you could have thousands of changes a day, a month, but I would filter out scripts and, see, am I actually getting, are they actively managing my account, right? Are there changes outside of budgetary changes? Are we actively testing, right? And in reporting, you'll be able to glean that, especially if you're working with a partner or if you have someone in your team, doing the job. But change history is really going to help you identify and do detective work. So let's say we saw, a nice peak and then it just fell off a cliff. We're going to look a few days before what led to, that peak. And then a few days after, what were the changes that happened that led to that drop off? Was it a seasonal moment? Was it, a shipping cutoff, right? So December 17th or 18th, big time period. Typically people have their shipping cutoffs then. If you continue pushing spend past shipping cutoff, what happens? The cost for shipping increases. So you may have larger drop-offs and conversion rate drops. So that's an example of some detective work you could do just by looking at the change history. It's kind of like a ledger of what's actively happening in your account. So here we are. This is an account audit, right? It's very simple how to run through. It just helps you ask the right questions. More often than not, we don't know what questions to ask because we don't live in these platforms or these tools. So hopefully this was helpful. Please reach out if you need anything from me. I'm here to help. Drop a comment below. Share this with a friend. We're all here to win.
So an audit's not a all-in-one, this is gonna fix everything. This is just the start. Getting after them, putting a plan together, that's what's really gonna lead to results. Once your account is optimized, the next challenge is how can I scale efficiently? So if you want expert guidance to transform your Google Ads results and finally see the ROI you deserve, click the link below and book a free discovery call with me today. Heck, I'll even throw in an audit. Not quite ready for that step? No problem. Check out this video where I reveal the 5 signs your current Google Ads agency might not be delivering what you're paying for. See you there.